Welcome to the show, guys. I'm your host, Deepanshu Lakhwan, a person who drinks more coffee than a teacher, curses like a sailor, and is more of a gossip than your mom's hairdresser. Please welcome our today's guest, Mr. Tomasz Twardowski. He's a TV producer of 17 years and counting, and his job mostly involves taking chaotic information and converting them into meaningful and digestible chunks. Tomasz's credits include producing morning shows, election nights, and actually flying in Poland's first newscopter, along with producing some music records. But hey, what does producing even mean, and who even watches TV these days? Stick around to find out. Tomasz, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. So let's begin the journey. Well, this 2-hour-long journey with a very, because you had a very unexpected beginnings to groundbreaking achievements. I would like to know about your TV producing career. It has such an intense and serious ring to it.
Yeah.
Please just walk us through what made you jump into this profession, and do you like working there?
Yeah, of course. If I wouldn't like it, love it, I wouldn't be working there for as long as I have. It's as you mentioned in the intro, I am pushing 17 years in a single job in a single company.
That's what brand loyalty is.
Yeah, it's kind of
Job
kind
loyalty,
of
yes.
But it's partly brand loyalty, but it may be more a bit of a vocation, so to say. No, because well, you have to love it, basically.
Right.
And yeah, it is unexpected. The whole me being there is when I look back to it, it's very unexpected, and basically the unexpectancy is the key factor to it, and it's probably one of the main things that keeps me there, because every day is something new.
So when you started, when you just was a fresh graduate out of the university, you already knew that you want to be a TV producer, or
No.
was there a shift
No.
in the moment?
No, sir.
Was just like a chance or a luck? What was it?
No,
that,
sir.
that
No
pushed
fish.
you there?
No fish. You're fishing there, and you have not caught a fish.
Okay.
Well, it was very much different. Actually, I started working when I was still in college, but it wasn't like I always knew I wanted to be in television or even a TV producer. It was nothing like that. Actually, the only job I remember I was considering way back when, I was still in high school, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And then, the SATs came, Matura in our land, and afterwards you were supposed to, get. I was supposed to get a degree, because that's how I planned it, and I didn't go to law school. So because all the doubts crept in. Maybe I don't want to be a lawyer. Maybe I don't exactly know what I want to be doing. And well, journalism was always a thing, because I grew up watching a lot of television, actually, like probably most of people my age did.
Right.
And it's not that it was always, like cartoons and variety entertainment and whatnot. I actually watched a lot of news. There was this incredible allure of this, the thing that, it's only the news TV gives that to you. You have this sense when a story is unfolding, some big story, that the TV puts you just in the middle of it, in the
Right.
midst, and no other media ever did that.
Right. So TV was this.
Happy accident.
Right.
Yeah, it was a happy accident, actually, because I was deep in my studies, and I had to do some temping as part of my studies. Just to get some practice of the hook
Right,
for
so-
my studies.
so-
And I went there, and I stayed there.
And rest is history.
Rest is
Right.
history.
Okay, so just one more question related
Yeah.
to that. What was your studies about?
Actually, it was something totally unrelated to either journalism or TV production. I majored in diplomacy. I finished international relations with a major in diplomacy.
Right. So you're saying that even for the listeners, if you're not really from the background of journalism, let's say particularly, you can still have a fascinating career like
Of
Tomasz,
course.
for many years to come as well.
Yes, that's actually one of the, I would say that one of the biggest draws of the industry I'm working in. It's very open. It's incredible how open this industry is for people from very different walks of life, for different educational backgrounds, or maybe incomplete educational backgrounds.
Right.
That's not such a big issue. Bigger issue is that you have, I know, some character traits that are well suited to this job, and it's more important than any degree you might achieve.
Right. Again, and there, expanding on the point that you just said, there was this job survey that has been taken. Over 650 employees were surveyed, and it was probably the biggest survey of the recent decade. And it's, as you mentioned, the point about being skilled more than having a degree.
Yep.
So there is a whole shift of this workforce towards employers demanding a sort of skills rather than having a degree. Obviously, having a piece of paper that shows that you are diligent, you're hardworking, you can survive, you can exist between people, and you can do some teamwork is always great. But there is an extreme shift towards having skills than just having a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Was it the same thing when, let's go back 20 years? Was degree more important back then, or definitely skill is always relevant, but so comparing these things from today and going back 20 years ago, was degree more important than
That's
this?
a very good question, actually, because 20 years ago I was doing my SAT exams.
Matura, right?
Yeah, Matura. And well, why I want to say this, that well, it was obvious for me that I need to have a degree. We always talked about it with my parents, and it was always a thing that it's like this bare minimum that I need to be an MA at
Right.
something. And I never kind of, I never questioned it, because it was so obvious that for
It's
me
the
that
norm, right?
yeah,
It's what
that's the
everyone
norm.
does.
Yeah,
right?
everybody should have a higher education. Well, not in actuality, no.
Yeah.
But it's not written anywhere that everybody should have a certain degree of education, obviously. But for me, it was obvious. Also, in my high school days, there was also major talk about languages being the future. So it wasn't so obvious that people spoke, I know, one or two foreign languages fluently. And it was always a thing that was underlined during my high school years, that you need to put a huge emphasis on that. And basically that there are that the times are changing, yeah. So that was the main thing. It wasn't so well, very much railroaded, so to say, into that we are shifting towards skill-based workforce rather than education-based workforce. But there was hints of that, the paradigm being paradigm shifting.
Right. So this is talking about languages. Was English popular back then, like let's say again 20 years ago? How popular was English in Poland? Because as far as we are talking, you seem pretty fluent in
Thank
English,
you.
right? And
I'm a bit rusty, but
yeah, well,
I did my fair share of learning that language.
exactly. And so did it start 20 years ago, or you just had to catch up because you were in this midst of this profession, which might actually...
No. Actually, I started learning both English and German from a very young age. Actually, my first exposure to English was cartoons
Wow, yeah.
out of cable TV, and I know. I just started watching them. I didn't understand a single bit, and I just kept watching them, and the words
Until you
just,
understood
yeah,
some bit.
just fell in line one day. So that's basically that. When I started learning English at school, everybody was well, everybody. My teachers were surprised that I have a pretty decent vocabulary.
Right.
I use some contractions. I use some set phrases, and some grammar mechanics are obvious to me. Others are not. And basically, the cartoons gave me the background in English.
Also, learning German along with English,
Yeah.
maybe because you see German and English, they are like, for the lack of a better word, they're kind of more related than, let's say, Polish and English.
Yes, obviously, they're
Yeah.
English and German are from the same family, so to say,
Right.
of languages. Yeah, yeah.
So definitely, maybe one was working for the other one.
That's probably a fact. They share some vocabulary. You have some, I know, grammar structures. Some words that are very similar. Well, it didn't. Well, it helped more than it did more chaos in my mind.
Right, right. And German is also like you would know that German is a very literal language. For example, that's the reason why they have extremely long words. For example, what's a hospital called in German? Krankenhaus.
Krankenhaus, yeah.
So
That's-
Kranken is like health, and house is
no,
like
krank is ill. Basically, that's a house for the ill.
house for the. So it's like quite literal. Krankenhaus. An ambulance is Krankenwagen.
Krankenwagen, yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's like pretty literal, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why they have like extremely long words. I'm not sure if it's because of the lack of the grammar.
Well,
Or-
those legendary long words are mostly numbers. If you write down numbers, there's a rule in German that a number is a single word. So if you go into orders of 10 million something,
Okay.
then you have a very, very long word.
So how do you say 1050 in German?
Don't make me say it. I'm very much out of my comfort zone talking to you in English. Don't make me say in German.
I see, I see. But how? Okay, do you know 1 to 5 from German?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so can we just like have it?
Dude, come on.
Just like
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
that's German for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, let's go back to our topic.
Yes.
Was there a pivotal moment or challenge that, that really shaped your path in becoming a TV producer, TV news producer?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. Actually, the thing about this whole industry is, as I said, there are some things that are very alluring in the broad land of journalism and TV journalism, and one of the biggest biggest alluring parts is that basically every single day has the potential to being this pivotal moment, because you have to understand that what we do is that we just watch how stories unfold before our eyes, and we do our best to report them as fairly and as accurately as possible. And coming to work each day, we don't know if it's going to be a pivotal moment, if there's going to be some event, groundbreaking event that will shape the history of, I don't know, this city, this country, the whole world. Every single day is such a possibility, and that's a very exciting possibility that you are, when it happens, when it does happen, and you are on shift, then you have the absolute privilege of, going with this story as it unfolds and bringing it to viewers, listeners, whatever. Yeah.
Definitely, I get that, because in this type of profession, you must have seen so many different types of news, incidents, and everything. But is there something that comes on the top of your head that just stands out? That okay, there was this day, Wednesday morning, I just had my coffee, and I just saw this. So I would like to know if there was something like that stands
Well,
there.
obviously the Smolensk crash in 2010.
Sorry, one more time, which crash?
Smolensk, the
Smolensk
one
crash.
when our president and other 95 statesmen died in a plane crash.
Oh,
In
that's horrible.
2010. It was a delegation to Russia, and the plane crashed on its approach to the landing at the final destination. And as I said, it was a major event that because, well, obviously the president and 95 statesmen died in that crash, and it had broad repercussions on our political sphere, and it has up to this moment, and it was 2010 back then, and it was such an enormous news event. And actually, I was off duty when it happened, and I was one of the first people in my company who got called in as an extra just to, help with whatever I can, basically, because
A massive workload.
yeah, it was a massive workload, and every such event has its own, set of rules. You don't have like a checklist to approach different events.
Right.
You approach everything as it is, just like a fresh start for everything, right? But even if there were a checklist, you would never have a checklist for 96 people from the top of the top newspaper names
Yes.
dying at the same time.
Right. So there's although there's rules to it, but there is no exact protocol about what to follow about
Rules,
things.
I won't say. Well, we do everything on our best judgment, basically. That's how you go about it. You have your best judgment, you have your ethics, and you have your sense of what's newsworthy and what's not. And basically it boils down to getting it fair and accurate. That's the hardest part, actually.
Right.
To keep it all together, just to and in coming back to that particular case, the plane crash. It was an enormous event. It rippled in every facet of our society, and it was news for. It was events related to that singular event, the crash. Other events resonated in the news cycle for the coming years, not even days or months, but years.
Years to you.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about some of those ripples? How were they felt? Because I would just like to.
Excuse me.
How were those ripples felt? Like, what was the exact scenario?
Thing is that when the plane crashed, there was all right. Let me do it another way. Let me approach this another way. I'm partial to the theory that there are basically three types of news events.
Okay.
And they're easily labeled as 3 C's. You get a contest, a conquest, or a coronation.
Right. Okay.
So obviously, a contest is when you have two forces pitted against each other. A contest is a conquest is when one of the forces is overcoming the other one.
Right.
And coronation is like your very final. It can be a coronation literally, or it can be, a medal ceremony at a sports event,
Right.
or it can be a funeral if some very important person died. That in that regard, in this trichotomy, that's also a coronation. And the event of the Smolensk crash, that was just a sparking. That was just a spark.
It was a trigger to something.
It was a trigger that led to a huge amount of consequent media events, because the crash happened abroad.
Right.
So all the bodies need to be taken back to
Transferred back,
Poland.
yes.
Yeah, they need to be interred. Yeah, there need to be some sort of state ceremony about
Right,
it.
right.
But then again, at the same time, you have this whole issue of continuity of government. because the president just died. So you have to, the country has to still run itself. So
Right.
you have all those state issues, and that was, for example, a coronation when the marshal of our parliament, because that's the succession line in Poland, that the marshal of the parliament becomes president pro tempore. So there was there's a coronation for you, right?
Right.
Then you had the state funerals of the president and every single other victim of the crash, and that's another coronation in that regard. But then other things started happening. There were contests and conquests, obviously, because well, for example, what led to the crash was widely contested.
Well, was there some sort of conspiracy theories floating
Of
around?
course,
'Cause
of course, there were
an
a
event
lot.
like this happens, and then
Yeah.
you're like, people will always raise eyebrows about because it wasn't that literal.
Yeah.
By the way, where did this plane crash?
In Smolensk, Russia.
Smolensk, Russia.
Yeah,
I
it's
see.
a historical site for Poland.
Okay. All right. Please continue.
No, that's probably the thing. That was that was a very pivotal moment for me and for probably everyone who was at that time working in any news outlet here in Poland, because it was one of those events that you are never ready for.
Right.
It was for us. It was on the same level
As 9/11
As
in
9/11,
US.
exactly.
Right.
9/11, I had the opportunity to you just watch it as a viewer. I was in my last or second to last high school class, and I was just watching it like a very awesome movie. That's my main recollection from that day. It was you just staring at the TV and you're like, this is not happening. But it's
It
so
was-
incredible. It's so audacious. You wouldn't even think that someone would make this real. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I would get it. It's like
yeah,
unimaginable thing.
Yeah.
Like just the plane just going into a building.
exactly.
It just doesn't happen. You know,
Exactly.
we're just not
exactly.
used to
And
things
then
like
it
that.
happens again with the second building.
Right. And again, yeah, we were
Yeah,
talking about
the final
conspiracies,
moment.
and still there are too many conspiracies about 9/11, and we will not get into that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Let's not.
yes,
Let's not.
and so that was the plane crash in 2010. In
Yeah, that's a
Poland, what
pivotal
was-
moment, because then all you think about what I said in the first place, that every day has a potential of being some pivotal moment or groundbreaking or host to a groundbreaking event. That was the thing,
I get
and
it.
that was the day that nobody was ever ready for, and that makes you or breaks you.
Right, and we're talking about good, bad, and ugly. Well, that was the ugly part of it. So, Tomasz, as a producer, let's
Yeah.
say I have no reasoning about what a TV producer does. So, can you just break it down into a very layman's terms about what exactly do you do? Right, you are behind the cameras, but are you the person who rereads the final draft of the news, or are you the person who tells the news anchors how to sit, where to sit, and all those kind of things, or is just a amalgamation
happens.
of
Yeah.
all of those things together?
It's an amalgamation, mostly. Just to break it down into layman's terms, I would say that it's the job that is the person tasked with keeping the whole broadcast together in different aspects, obviously, because okay. A producer is not equal to another producer in that respect, that some of my colleagues, for example, are they are running the foreign desk.
Right.
Some of my colleagues book guests for programs.
Uh-huh.
That's also in the producer's purview in TV news production. And some of them are broadcast coordinators, so they line up different our different live channels on receivers for us to see in the control room and be able to broadcast them.
Right.
So that's also part of a producer's job. Some work the assignment desk, so they basically manage on a daily basis the how our assets allocated over the city and beyond it. So it's a broad term actually, and some of them and some of us are responsible for particular programs. So producing a single program, so then there's more of a set amount of things you need to do for it to happen. Yeah,
Right.
and myself, I do probably all of that.
Okay.
It differs from week to week. There are weeks that I produce morning shows, so that involves me booking guests for the show, working in very close contact with the show's editor, or maybe I should say in that regard the show's director, with whom we usually go over the major topics we want to address in our show, and then book guests accordingly.
Right.
Then we also set up our field reporters, and basically my job as a producer is to get those guests, coordinate every reporter, every footage crucial footage that we will be expecting to have incoming within our program. And then when you run the program, you have to react to make it all click together, to address anything that was unexpected or just came up. So that's when you have a morning show on your hands. Then again, if you have a foreign desk on your hands, then you manage all the camera crews that are sent abroad. You organize for them, help them when they're out there, and take care of relationships with other news agency or partners abroad to share footage or whatnot. So yeah, that's basically a very interfacing job, so to say. You basically interface with people who are tasked with very set things,
Right. So
and you make it come together.
right. So it's not just one thing that
No,
I
no,
do.
no,
I
no.
don't do this. So collaboration, meetings, pointing the guest, exploring, keeping it all together.
You do a lot.
You
do a lot.
Sounds like a mouthful, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. It can be, but it's mostly very rewarding because the thing about it is that if you like this part, the interfacing with other people, if you are open-minded to people from who are on one side very technical, on the other side you have your guests which are usually trade experts,
Right.
so
Talking
they
about
are
economic policies and stuff
for
like
for
that.
example, but basically those are people, both the technical ones and the experts are people who basically function in different subsets of the world. Yeah, they
Right.
are concentrated on their stuff, which they should be, and you're basically the one who makes them work together to achieve a TV broadcast.
Would you say that you have this natural talent towards doing all these things, or it's like an acquired taste? I think it might be both, but what do you think it's the
I would say
majority?
both. I would say both because, obviously, I have some character traits which are helpful. I'm outgoing, I'm outspoken, and I tend to, shorten distance between people, and that's usually very helpful. But then again, those are things that you can learn.
Right.
But basically, every newsroom, I would venture to say, runs its own game, and you just need a certain set of skills that's necessary for the certain newsroom just to find yourself in the situation.
Right. So,
That's
it's just,
probably something that I got from my studies, because one of the non-set rules of diplomacy is that being diplomatic is being able to find yourself in every circumstance and make it comfortable.
right. And you also need to be super adaptable in order to
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
great
yeah.
diplomat. Great. Talking about diplomat, uh, here's the thing. In a world, let's leave diplomacy aside. In a world, in a world of this ever-growing, digital media is the new thing. It's the
Yeah.
new hot topic. So, how do traditional formats like TV and news adapt and thrive in this? Because just to elaborate on it more, because younger generations
Yeah.
like us, I honestly do not really have time, or let's say, uh, an inclination towards sitting down and watching TV, unless and until my father's watching it, and I might
Yeah.
just like look at it from a running eyes perspective. But I
So
get my
nostalgia watcher.
yes, it's just a small, really small part of my life. But
Yeah.
I mostly get my news, if I get my news, it's from the social media platforms like, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. This
Yeah.
is the thing. Now, again, there is a part about the credibility of these sources, because if you are any Tom, Dick, and Harry, you could just simply make a post and put it out there, and Lord and behold, if it's wrong and it goes viral, excuse me, it goes viral. Uh, Misinformation is deadlier than no information. That's what I think. If
Probably. Yeah.
it's better not to know something than to know it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, it could have rather
Yeah, I would
horrible
agree on that.
repercussions. That right. So, how do TV and news, like this traditional
Yeah.
TV, adapt to it now? Just one more point I would like to add, that it does provide a source of credibility, because like they're the same people, and there's this thing about like there is part of credibility.
I see where you're going, I
Yes.
think. But apart from that, please bear in mind that well, with every year, the boundaries between new media, old media, between traditional, linear, and on-demand media, however do you categorize it, those boundaries blur. There's even more blur on a technical level, because professional equipment is, well, of course, it's very much more expensive, but it's not that different from, as you call it, prosumer equipment. So you have on both the technical and not so to speak on the content level, you have these blurring boundaries. So that's one thing. Then again, because of social media, you have very shorter distance between the receiver, recipient, and the author,
Right.
or the writer or reader, if you rather. So the thing is that what I'm trying to say is that it kind of seems to be self-regulating itself towards a sort of a convergence. And as you are well aware, basically every company that works as a media outlet, well, they go along with this. So you have, I know, internet portals producing regular TV programming. You have other internet portals that are running the radio shows, for example. You have radio journalists who write long-form texts or analyses. You have, I know, television creating content for the internet. Basically, everybody somehow meets in the internet, and television as well. Because, as I said, from one direction, there are portals who well, do more and more in terms of TV production. So they basically become otherwise distributed TV channels, right?
Right. So rather than being a substitute of each other, they're like complementary.
They're complementing each other. For example, there's there's all basically big TV stations, mine included. We work in concert, in very close contact with our web portal,
Right.
and most of the stuff that the most important stuff that we produce for television also winds up somewhere on the portal, and it's also a great place for longer form journalism, because there's also the thing of a person's attention span, right?
Yeah. It's getting shorter from last I checked.
Always was short. Come on, it was always short.
Or maybe it's just we hear about it more often than
maybe. But the thing is, if you're watching television, then you'll probably stop concentrating on this. Well, unless of course you're watching it intentionally because of a groundbreaking event that you turned on your news channel and you're following it. But any other in any other situation, you just lose interest over time, and that's where the synergy with internet can come in, because if you have access to the same content on the broadcaster's website, then you can get back to it whatever you can, whatever you want to. That's, as I said, it's a great place for longer form journalism. You can have very well produced reporter pieces, which normally do not fit in standard TV programming, because they are just too long to digest.
Right. But talking about the attention span, Tomasz, I would disagree about people always had a shorter attention span, because again, with me personally as well, when I just go hop onto these social media platforms, I don't know what it is, but it's just there's a lot of fun swiping stuff, right? It's just you have different information coming out from there, and I think what we practice is what we become. And what we are practicing as a younger generation especially is diverting our focus from one point to other point, and compare this exact same thing, because mobile phones and everything, they just became popular like last 10 years. And before that, since you've been working here in 17 years, the only choice you had was to look at the TV, and whatever they were giving, you just simply had to take it. Right now you have this freedom of choice that you just have too many choices, and you can suffer from analysis paralysis as well.
Analysis paralysis, that's a good one. And you get overwhelmed.
Yes,
that's the world for you. And and that's also the place for every single news outlet, be it a radio, be it a portal, be it a television broadcaster. That's what we do. We organize it for you and make it more digestible.
Right. And since we were talking about these things being complementary, do you think that this digitalization of news spread over these social media platforms might be a threat to traditional media at all? Do you think it's going out of fashion one day because people would be just
someday probably? Actually, there are two ways I want to answer this at the same time, because one way to go about it is, as I said, with the lines between traditional media and new media blurring, this whole news ecology being even more of a let's say shared universe than not. So that's one thing that kind of assures me it's not the case. And then again, there's this. Sorry, that's very cynical. But there's this thing that we are still not driving flying cars like the Jetsons. Yes. We are still running on fossil fuels.
Right.
Yeah. We are still. We still haven't been replaced by AI.
Yes.
And Skynet didn't wake up. So we're kind of safe for the time being.
That's an interesting concept about flying cars. We already do have them. They are called helicopters.
Well, yeah, so, kind
Well,
of, sort of, but
yeah.
ever tried parallel parking a helicopter?
I've never been in a helicopter, but
I never been in
again.
a car. No, sir.
Right.
As a
So
driver.
again, hopefully the AI won't take over us. So talking about AI, let's just briefly
Yeah,
touch it.
sure.
Well, you must have heard about deepfakes, right? And like maybe 2 days ago, there was this first case of deepfake stealing $25 million, which I think is like still a ridiculously small amount compared to the
Yeah,
potential of
of
you
course.
could literally be Barack Obama and
Yeah.
claim a Nobel Peace Prize and just spread misinformation again. However, do you think this is going to be a problem with AI? Especially, you could have a nice studio like this and a perfect graphic designer just sitting behind and cloning your voice, and you must have heard about Joe Rogan, and
Yeah, of course.
there are these clips which mimic the voice of Joe Rogan, and he's saying these
Yeah.
bonkers stuff, and it's just so this could be a really big problem. Do you guys ever have a discussion about it, that how it's probably going to
Well, it's one of
affect the news probably?
it's probably one of the main topics in every news outlet. Not only in news outlets, but all over the entertainment industry, because
Hmm.
there are quite a few more considerations with this. For example, there's one thing of people, well, using deepfakes to obviously steal somebody's personality, but then you also venture into the land of copyright infringement, for example.
Hmm.
Like you have all those, the Disney shows when they have where they have digitally de-aged actors, and what happens when those actors actually die, and Disney still wants to do a sequel. So is that okay? Basically,
Yeah.
there's quite a lot to unpack there, but still, if anything, from the news industry perspective, I think that's mostly a challenge of fact checking, basically,
Hmm.
because everything leaves a thread, leaves a footprint, be it the digital one or an analog one. There's always is a footprint, and you can always, given enough time and enough effort, you can always discern what's true from what's fake.
Hmm.
And that's just a matter of applying the right amount of resources to it.
Talking about fact checking, uh, you cannot get 100% of the things 100% right all the time, right? And so, has it ever
Obviously.
happened that you reported, through you, some sort of news was reported and later turned out that it was fake or false? So in these cases, do you actually apologize to public, or you just let it hit the tide of time and let it go? Like, has it ever happened like that? Maybe this is a ridiculous question, but
Well,
as a potential news viewer, I would just like to know
it's
what
not
is
a
it.
ridiculous question. Not a ridiculous question, not at all. But let me answer it this way. It happened probably to every news outlet in the world in history. And I would say that the best way to go about such a situation is to apologize to viewers, especially given the fact that we live in a digital age where everything is being scrutinized by some social media society.
Right.
So if you tell a blatant lie and try to get away with it, you'll probably never get away with it. Somebody will push it, put it out there, and somebody will catch you red-handed on your lie,
Right,
and then
right.
you're dead.
Yes. Dead
So
in the waters.
yeah, so that's basically, just taking it seriously and taking it long term.
Yep.
That always then you always arrive at the only logical choice, that if you mess up, you
Right.
own to it, basically.
Exactly. Makes absolute sense. Think
Yeah.
long term. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, uh, let's talk about the combination of Netflix and news, which I mean is bridging the worlds of hard-hitting news and captivating entertainment. Why doesn't news production seamlessly translate into creating movies or ads? Can you?
Because they both start with an N, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would say they do not. They do not. The skills which we use and they use, they do not translate well. It's a different type of thing altogether. Because when you look at it from a well, so we say story standpoint, right? What we do is that we report on events that are unfolding. There's always the spark for us going to work, so to speak, is always something happening. There's something that something had happened, and there are consequences to it, or just the event itself unfolding, right? And there's you don't begin with a story. The story is somewhere there, but you make it the story. When you choose it to be newsworthy, when you choose to share it with a broader audience, then you make a story of an event, right?
Right.
And that's the main mechanism that we are organized around. And with scripted entertainment, it's the other way around. Obviously, you just you have a set story, and you have set production means, and you do your best to do the best possible show with that story and with those funds available to you.
And you can always like reiterate the stuff that you think that it's not subpar with that level. But in the news, it's like a very dynamic process.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get a do-over usually.
Exactly.
That's one thing. But the main part is that you're basically, for the most part, not for the most part, but for the first part of the process, you're just a passenger. You're just a passenger in that regard, that you are looking for something that speaks to you, that is relevant, that is newsworthy.
Right.
The whole idea of newsworthiness is basically a very interesting concept, I would say, because well, there's so much going around, and that's the whole thing. That's the whole art behind this. It's in my organization that is handled by the people known as editors, and they are the ones who do the selection of what is the most worthy thing that is out there, and what to make of it.
Right. And talking about storytelling, because this is it's an art, to say the least, right? What are some great if you want to be a great storyteller, do you have any looking at great stories for 2 decades almost, what do you think makes a great story?
Well, I would say that, but let me say this first. I wouldn't think that story is the best word choice here, because what we delve in, what we dabble in, is not stories. It's reporting. We observe and report.
But doesn't those go hand in hand? If you're reporting, if you're reporting, you cannot just be absolutely bland and you're just giving out facts and facts. There has to be some way of storytelling, or maybe a better word would be, what makes a great storyteller? Because a reporter should have some element of storytelling, otherwise it would just be reading from a paper.
That I can answer, I think. To have a great storyteller is to have a person who uses the most of the means available to them in telling the story. So if you have more than your just your voice and the sheet of paper, as you said, just to make it not dull as a person reading out from a card, from a cue card. So you use what is at your disposal. So when you have a camera, use it to show what you are talking about. When you have, I don't know, sound available, make a sound overlay. I know I'm speaking things that are pretty much self-explanatory and obvious, but still though, that's what makes it work. Those obvious parts.
So these are
use the medium.
Right.
You just use the medium.
Yeah, you just maximal utilization of the resource available at your disposal. And you gotta have the technical part right, your sound, voice, cameras, lights, all of those, and also you have to have some touch of your interpersonal skills. For example,
not necessarily, because one of the probably best news items I had ever seen was a part about it was about day one of some sort of military academy. You know, there are cadets coming over, and they are starting the new school year. It was from a local news station somewhere in America, and it was a 1.5 minute piece without a single word in it. No, not a word from a reporter, no sound on tape from one of the recruits or from the drill sergeant or whatever. It was just a set of pictures edited together, set of B-roll edited together.
Right.
And it was the most awesome thing I ever saw.
Yeah, but again, that falls into the category of an exception or an outlier. But if we talk about like
not necessarily, because when you think about television, then what's the driver of it? Is it the fact that you hear somebody or that you see some pictures?
A combination of both would be great, for example.
Well, yeah, it would be, but then again, you have to ask yourself a follow-up question. How do you consume your television? Well, most people don't own TVs nowadays, so I'm putting it in air quotes. Because if there are some people who I know treat the TV or just watching the TV the same as listening to the radio, right?
Yeah.
You do something else. You do something else,
Yeah,
and
could be that,
and
yes.
you have only the voice that's getting to you. And you sometimes, just to take a quick look of on what's going on there, so, and that's that. So in that case, you're still watching television, but it's not how you are supposed to consume it. And if you tell a story, as the one I mentioned, without any words, it would be it would be just plain stupid for such an audience. Yeah, because for example, I don't know, if you're cooking or whatever, or cleaning, and you're hearing this, there's a story about the first day at the military academy, and then you hear no words for just some background noises for 1:30. Then you're like, what? There's something broken with that.
Yeah.
But it's still television, right?
Right. Okay.
And then again, you can do it the other way around. You can, put your TV on mute and just listen to music.
Right.
And still,
you could just see the pictures and the videos. So what you're necessarily saying,
and you can have the same debacle with a item on television that is structured so that you won't get a hang of it without the underlying audio.
Right. So what you're saying is, in order to make a great news piece or a story, you don't necessarily have to have both elements in place. It could be either.
Yeah, it should be a combination, but
ideally it should be a combination. Let's say 80% of the times. It's just best to watch audio, video together, but it's not an underlying factor that only this will make a great TV article. Yes, I think we could collectively agree on that. Tomasz, in the newsroom, it's not about hierarchy but harmony. How does this unique ecosystem operate?
Well, on spit nails and gaffer tape. No, that's a joke, obviously. But well, it's very lateral, non-hierarchical, because it has to be this way. I would say. Thing about it is that imagine that you are in a very busy hive, right? And the hive metaphor is probably good in that regard, that everybody has their jobs to do, and basically if everybody were to I don't know, push something, send something up the chain, up the flagpole for a review. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be and whatever. Then we would probably never get a news item together at all. So it has to be lateral. People have to have agency, and they have to have responsibility for it all to work, basically, and for it to be as fast and as agile as it needs to be.
Right. Okay. So it's a very linear system. There is no
Yeah.
one that's above someone,
Well,
or like
well, obviously there is a structure in place. It always
who should
be one.
report to who. There's
Yeah,
this
exactly. There's
definitely.
a reporting structure. We are divided into teams. Teams have their managers. There's the editor-in-chief well above us, and his deputies, and it's probably the same thing in every single newsroom. But when you're down on the news floor, so to speak, and you're doing a single broadcast, then it's just then it's more about a shared vision and cooperation than anything else. Of course, there's also the matter of the fact that from a legal perspective, the editor or news director, whatever you call this function, let's say for a news director, is the person lawfully responsible for the broadcast, right? So obviously, when you're doing a singular broadcast, you're kind of reporting to that person.
Yeah.
But it's just it's always more of a matter of this shared responsibility. Well, shared in that regard that everybody has their responsibilities.
Right. Unlike the military system where you are told what you have to do, but it's like there's obviously a reporting hierarchy, but it's
Yeah.
not that it is like prevalent about some.
Yeah, it
Makes sense. Makes
well,
sense.
it wouldn't work any other way, I would say.
Especially in this type of creative endeavors.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Perfect. So, well, talking about teamwork, collaboration, and working with each other, what do you think are a couple of skills that are, essential if someone wants to break into TV news producing?
That's a good question. Thank you for that. It's a good and a hard question, actually. It would not hurt to have interpersonal skills. Good interpersonal skills. I mean, people who are who don't get anxious with other people. People tend to fare better. People who are more outgoing tend to fare better. Of course, there's the matter of some, I would say, resilience, because you work odd hours usually. Well, not usually. You can work odd hours. For example, like I do when I do my morning shows. We set up the whole program with the director the day before, and then on the day of the broadcast, I need to be there at sometime after 5 a.m. So, yeah, that takes a toll on you, obviously, when you had.
What time do you usually wake up?
Usually,
early morning.
I don't have a usual wake-up time.
Let's say what time is the first news that broadcasts? 6 a.m.
For us, it's 5:55.
Wow, so you have to wake up at least
Well,
1.
not that early, but yeah, over the course of my career, I pulled quite a few all-nighters. I did, for example, U.S. election nights. So for us, the U.S. election day, for us it's at night.
Right.
So
Elections,
we
elections
do that. Yeah.
elections happen. Coffee helps,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. Hence the coffee, but we actually do drink a lot of coffee because you just need
More than teachers.
well,
Debatable. But yes.
debatable,
Yeah,
debatable.
we drink we too much as well. But
Yeah.
again, we could just we are those people who we just cannot exist without coffee, and that's the reason why coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after, well, oil.
Oil.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's what makes coffee
I thought it
break.
was drugs.
Could be that too.
Probably not in the
Yeah, but I think we
official
cannot
statistics.
official. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Coffee is also a psychoactive drug. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yes. Anyways, in this age of endless scrolling, we're just going to touch up it again. How do you craft like engaging stories? Do you like throw in some random hook, or sometimes it just completely depends on what type of news it is to make it engaging, or you just just give it like some salty touch to make it more engaging? Do you do
Well,
something like that?
you can't spice it up because you'll distort it. That's the first answer that comes to mind. It's like that thing with the viral videos. If somebody tasks you with I know direct me a viral video, so then that's the moment when you're supposed to be like, what? How am I supposed to do?
Make
how
a
am I
viral
supposed to do
video,
that?
yeah, that keep on watching it again and again
Yeah,
to increase the view count. It
yeah.
just doesn't
Uh,
set up right.
thing is that what we do is what we aim to do is to be fair and accurate first, and everything comes afterwards. First, you have to be fair and accurate, just to build on those expectations your audience has of you as a trustworthy medium. So that's that. And well, basically, enticing stories tend to find themselves. Actually, there's so much of going on in basically every facet of reality, be it sports, be it social issues, be it I don't know, sports. There's so much going on everywhere that there's always something waiting to be uncovered.
Right, because I don't know how it works in Poland, but in India, even if you have like, for example, a cow is not trying to cross the street, you could, as a TV reporter, you could make it so much so that it's a very fine line between it being an absolute piece of crap and it's just being somewhat interesting. What I'm trying to say here is, as a news reporter, you can have a pretty a diverse range of artistic liberty that you can take to add some things on it. Because let me just give you an example. There was this Hadron Collider in Switzerland. This is
Yeah,
like this
Hadron Collider, yeah.
yeah, and they were trying to find out the Higgs boson
Yeah.
back then.
And not to topple reality.
Yes, and not to break the fiber of
Yeah.
space-time and just
Yeah.
get us killed in the process. However, that,
Thanks, Dan Brown, for writing all those
yeah, I
books, right?
appreciate him very much.
Yeah.
And so there was this Indian TV channel, and I was a kid back when I was watching it, and they were like, "This is going to be the last Thursday of your life. So you go hug your parents,
Yeah.
go give love to your dog, because this Hadron Collider, as soon as it starts, and the Earth will crumble." And they were like, "No, right now we are within this Hadron Collider," and it was clearly a green screen. Even if I was blind, I would see that it was a ridiculous green screen, and we are inside it, and it's so cold here, and I was there cooking it bunch. So that's what I was saying, that does something like this even happen in Poland? That they they're just like they're adding extra spices to make it
I'm not aware
more
of that,
engaging.
actually. I'm
At
not
least
aware of.
TVN24 doesn't do that.
Well, no, we
Not
pride
at all.
ourselves to be fair and accurate quite a bit.
Right.
But what you were saying about this virtual Hadron Collider, great story, by the way. But the main thing about this, I guess, is that was it explained beforehand that we are taking a look in our, virtual Hadron Collider?
What do you think?
Well, I'm
No,
asking because
yes,
you can
it
go both
wasn't.
ways with
It
it.
wasn't. They were just simply throwing out just to somehow engage audience to watch their advertisements. That's what they were doing.
Okay.
Now, although I wouldn't argue that it was the best news channel ever, it was just some random
Yeah.
stuff. But however, when it comes to TV news reporting, I'm always so sickened by these types of reporters who are just making something out of nothing, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you caught this thing. I was talking about virals. There was this very famous clip of a reporter, one of those big American three-letter news broadcasters, and the reporter is reporting on on the winter, and just so theatrically, falls on ice. It was so lame.
Yes, exactly. And
So-
so
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 cringy.
these types of
Yeah. Well, but then you have your answer right there, because everybody has their bullshit filter built in.
yes.
Some are working better, some are working worse, but basically, if you can tell that you're not looking at the real Hadron Collider, but it's
yes.
a lousy green
Yeah.
screen, then you're probably good to go.
Yeah, education and being present and being a bit smart helps as
Well,
well to create this
no,
better bullshit
that's
filter.
that's one thing, and the other thing, and it's a bit of a comeback to our previous topic of the character traits you would that would have been wanted in an organization such as one I work for, as critical thinking.
Mm.
Yeah, that's probably a good one, right?
What's critical thinking?
Critical thinking is not necessarily agreeing that it's a hadron collider and not
Thinking
like
outside
a
the box,
shitty
you
green
must
wall. Yeah,
Right.
in that
That's
particular case.
pretty, yes. So
Well,
even as a kid, I had
It's not
some.
necessarily thinking outside of the box. It's probably something a bit different, right? But I would say that in that regard, critical thinking involves not trying to make assumptions, but trying to
for
draw
what it is.
conclusions and seeing people and events for what they are, at least
Yeah.
trying to.
Seeing events for what they are is, I think, a way easier compared to seeing people for what they are, because it's always like a more complicated stuff, right? And when you combine both of them,
Well-
for example, in the news, you have a person and you have an event, and then you have this personal interpretation of this subjective interpretation of this news
Yeah.
event from that person. That's like, sometimes it could be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Well, however, it depends on what type of quality of the news that you're watching, what are the credentials and all that. Talking about the news quality, now we are going into
Say the word.
yeah,
Say the word.
So the word is, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. It's navigating the tightrope of media bias.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you ensure your reporting standards remain fair and unbiased?
Well, lot of unpack there, obviously.
Let's do it.
That's a chorus for our conversation today. A lot of unpacking. A lot of unpacking. But still there. Just let me gather my thoughts on this one, because
Sure, take your time.
yeah,
take your time.
it's probably the thing that I'm thinking of the most during my off time when I'm thinking about work. It's obviously something you reflect on a lot, but from my standpoint, my very personal standpoint is well, the biggest thing is that we should rethink journalistic objectivity altogether, because when you're talking about bias, there are at least a dozen types of different biases
Right.
currently identified, and I assure you that with every single turn in our history, in our civilization, there will be new types of bias uncovered. I can imagine when I don't know we attain the level of general artificial intelligence, then there will be AI bias. When
Right.
AI gets its human rights, so to speak, then we will have the issue if it should be treated, how it should be treated in the media industry.
Right. Sorry to
So,
interrupt you,
yeah.
Tomasz. We're talking about AI bias. Did you read about the report where I really cannot say it here. I really cannot say it here without sounding like an absolute dork. But there was a
Indulge me.
yes, there was this AI which was identifying people, and it identified those people as chimpanzees.
Yeah, that's
And like, and you know, this is the AI was
no,
biased
no.
about like.
Yeah, no. That's lousy reporting for you right there. Because for
Not the
what?
best reporter.
No. One thing that's not true AI. That's just a glorified machine learning. You just feed the machine a data set, and it
Right.
spews out results based on said data sets. And if there were too many chimpanzees in the data set, there you have it. There's your recipe for disaster.
And that's the thing. There was no chimpanzees at all. And still, that AI was saying that these people, they're
Mhm.
chimpanzees for some reason, and I don't
It
know
had
why.
to have
Yeah, exactly.
access to some image database,
Right,
which involved a lot of chimps.
And also there's this AI is racist. That was the headline
All right.
that I read. That you know,
Yeah.
because it was taking up data. I don't know how it was doing it. Maybe there was a lack of some meaningful data set, or maybe it picked up some sort
Well,
of things that it shouldn't have.
I would venture to say that every AI scholar out there would correct you in, here and say that AI is not racist, but
It shouldn't be.
people who program those machine learning pieces of software can be.
They could be, but I don't think that, well, you know, anyone could be racist.
Yeah.
Let's hope the people who are the software engineers are not. But however, it kind of shows when we were talking about bias of AI, it just depends on the data, type of data that's
Yeah.
been fed. Because, for example, ChatGPT is
But
fed on like.
that's yeah, but that's just one single piece, so to say, of bias.
Of bias.
You can
Upcoming
have
and new bias.
You can
let's
have,
say.
I know, advertisal bias.
Yeah,
You can
like
have
confirmation
corporation
bias,
bias. You
yeah.
can have, I know, race bias. You can have educational bias. Whatever comes to mind, you just put bias next to it, and you have two warring factions ready to get at each other. And that's and it's mostly because given if you make the definition for what bias is broad enough, you will always get bias. You'll wind up with a conclusion that every news is biased because it is edited, because someone selects for you what's newsworthy and what's not. And if you have a broad enough definition of bias, then that's bias for you as well, because they do not let you to choose what's most important for you. They choose for you what's most important. Yeah,
Well, exactly.
So that's the thing about it. It's that's why I lose so much sleep over it, thinking about it. But let me please come back to it from the perspective of objectivity, because it was always said that journalists should be objective, right? Impartial and objective. And I was quite intentional during our whole meeting today when I kept saying that we aim to be fair and accurate, because they are not necessarily the same thing. Let me give you an example, because objectivity, in fact, can be a very detrimental factor. Let me give you an example. Let's say we have the 19th century New York Times, late 19th century, reporting on lynchings, on black people lynchings, right? And they did it totally unbiased, totally impartial. And by that I mean they just reported on it as in just putting those driest facts out there, that there were 20 policemen, for example, and they came across 20 armed black people, and as a result of this event, those 20 people lost their lives due to blunt force trauma induced by nightsticks. Yeah, that's fair reporting. It's not.
Okay.
It is though accurate and it is objective because it stated only the facts. But then, because of it being so clinical, it had no fairness in it. It was so dehumanizing. So
what makes it fair? A touch of empathy?
Yeah, a touch of empathy, a touch of involvement. Basically, you always need to walk the fine line, right? Because when you go over it the other way, then you're in trouble as well. Then you have, I know if you're familiar with the term gonzo journalism.
Gonzo journalism.
Gonzo journalism.
I'm not, but like
that's a subset of journalism where, well, in broadest of terms, when you participate in the events you're reporting on, and you participate hard enough that you change the outcome of those events, like the observer effect, right?
Okay, I see.
That's gonzo journalism for you in a
Heavy
nutshell.
name, yeah, Gonzo. Yeah.
Well, please don't let me get into the history of
Okay, we won't, yeah.
But still, again, another example when objectivity can be detrimental. When, for example, you have your racially charged shooting of a black person by policemen in America, right?
Yeah.
There were way too many of such events, but they usually transpired in a similar manner, right? There was it's an urban area. There's a patrol of 2 policemen, and they come across a silhouette of a black man, and they just chat him up or whatever, and he becomes twitchy. So following protocol, the policemen step back, reach for their guns, the twitchy person reaches for their coat, and then the police guns him down, and then they will later testify that they were pretty much sure he was reaching for a gun.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and then when you imagine you're a reporter and you're covering the story, and you're doing it like so. I'm thinking that the best thing about this would be, for the story, is to delve a bit into the backgrounds of those people. And then you have it. Those 2 policemen are just top of the class recruits from police academy, 2nd generation policemen, great patriots, what have you, experienced but not old, as in, I know, 5 years after graduating academy, great policemen, big careers ahead of them, right?
I see where you're
and
going.
then you have this victim.
Yes.
Then and you delve into his background, and you uncover that he had some
Arrests or DUIs or whatever.
DUIs, domestic abuse issues, whatever. These do not have anything to do with the fact that he is the victim. He was gunned down. But then, if you use all those facts in a report, you get a very objective, very accurate report.
Right.
But then,
It's not fair.
I guarantee you, every single person of your audience will tend to veer to the policeman's perspective,
I
that
get it, yes.
that the shooting was somewhat justified,
Right.
and
right.
it was not.
Makes sense. Yes, absolutely. So you can present the dry facts for what they are very objectively, and still
Yeah.
it wouldn't be fair because, well, it's some things might have no correlation with the event happening. There is no causality for it
Exactly.
to happening, but it might seem, because human beings, we are like meaning making machines. We connect the dots, and we just come to a conclusion that yes, this guy deserved to be shot, although he was just a guy with normal
Yeah.
inhibitions, like a normal lifestyle, right? Totally understood. It was a great example, Tomasz, by the way.
Thank you.
So let's approach the end of today's podcast. It has been an absolute journey. But
Pleasure for me as well.
the most important topic for you is that, as you mentioned before the podcast, that you have a really keen interest in producing music, not
Yeah.
just listening to it. I'm an avid listener, but you are on the other side of this thing. You produce music, and
Yeah.
it has been since you were 12, you have been making beats for rappers, and like so what's can you just tell me about what type of music do you produce and
First
what?
of all, just notice how it lacks sounds in comparison when you say I was producing beats in comparison to when you say told in the first place that a TV producer. That's a big word, TV producer, and then you produce beats for
He
some
also
rappers, and
beats for
yeah, that's
rappers,
run of the mill. Everybody does that. Yeah,
work for Jay-Z, Eminem, big
I
names.
wish. Will not. No, actually, yeah, exactly as you said, I started off doing something that mildly resembled beats. It was quite a few years ago, and I kept going as a hobby. That's one of the main things in my life that I always decided against having music as my career. I always wanted it to be somewhere, well, not necessarily in the background, but I wanted to be the other thing. The other thing I am very keen to come back to, and to when I don't know, need to express myself, need to offload, whatever. That's just your go-to thing for me. And yeah,
And I think it's a good approach because, well, when you make, okay, there are two sides of it. When you make your hobby your career, only if you are like extremely good at it and you know that you'll be an absolute top, yes, it makes sense to monetize it. However, if you're not like the greatest of great and you do not mix your hobby with your career, you always have a shoulder to fall back on,
yeah,
just to deload and offload. And that's the
exactly.
reason why sometimes artists, they start to hate making art as soon as they finish a college degree or something. Like, I have a friend who was an amazing artist. He always enjoyed painting stuff, and then he graduated art school, and now because he has to do it, it's he just started hating it. And that's
I
why
know the thing.
as me too, I just I like to paint and draw, but I never seriously considered it as an option.
Yeah.
Although when I was like 10 years ago, I might have thought about that I want to be an artist, but now I always have this sweet spot. And exactly like
Yeah.
you also have this sweet spot of
Yeah,
music,
exactly.
right?
And yeah, but still, I treat it kind of seriously. I have a couple of records published. I'm in this very fortunate situation that I'm published by one of Poland's leading independent labels.
What's the name?
You Know Me Records.
You Know Me Records.
Yeah, my albums are published on vinyl, so that's
Wow,
also,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing about it, that it's not happening totally in this virtual world where you have your music.
Streams, and
Yeah,
I get it. On the Spotify, you just have
in the air.
numbers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But an
yeah.
actual vinyl is also a piece of art, and that is something that you can touch,
exactly.
see, and
It's
actually
it's
listen to.
yeah, it's a legitimate article. It's a piece of art also on within that respect, that it has its art cover, but the back cover, and you try to make it as enticing as possible.
How did you come up with the picture
The picture
on the cover? What should be
the,
on
the
the
first
cover?
the first album, you mean? Well, actually, it was a thing I read about regarding one of Poland's biggest jazz musicians in history. When he was doing his debut album, I was consulting with this cover artist, and the artist was like, the first album you put out is like you putting your foot in the door, right? You getting people to know you. So
Right.
it's more than fair to have your mug on the cover. So we started with the cover's author. We started thinking about how to go from this, and then how to merge it with the title,
Right.
which was Soundtrack to Growing Up. And then we kind of thought about it, that what is the thing that tells that you're all grown up? You start growing a beard. So we started thinking about the beard, and then Edgar came up with the idea that the beard can be an epoxy resin, with some toys stuffed inside, and that was the actual thing.
Wow. Okay.
And it's not CGI, by the way. It was an actual article.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you literally put some toys in a beard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had a cast of my face taken. Then the beard was designed.
Was it real? The beard?
Yeah, it was a real, an epoxy, the transparent epoxy beard, and there were all sorts of toys from. I know the Kinder Surprise, some salt over Matchbox cars and stuff like that, and it was all put in that epoxy, and then it was shaped into a beard, and then it turned out that it's too heavy. So it didn't stick with it. It was glued to my face.
Wow.
Sorry, that
The
might
things you do for passion and
depend-
love.
Yeah.
Right. Amazing. So, but one last thing.
Yeah.
Where can we find your music?
Well, obviously on vinyl, so in vinyl stores. You
And
can.
it's called what? exactly?
Vinyl stores, there are plenty of.
No,
But
vinyl
you
called.
the mothership, so to speak. My publisher's name is You Know Me. You can buy my vinyl through their website.
Yeah, please
or-
use my code. It's Deepanshu Lakhwan. I'll get some royalty from it. Yes.
But you can also find me on Spotify
Yes.
just under my surname.
About the Spotify, we will link the Spotify channel and everything
That's very kind of
under
you.
this video, and you can always go there, like and subscribe and everything like that. So, concluding words, Tomasz. What is the best and the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Best and worst piece of advice. That's a really hard one.
Yes.
Well, basically, I think the worst piece of advice would be someone has told me one day, dude, you need to change your job as soon as possible. You've been there all too long, and I'm working in an industry that people change their jobs every 5 years or so, and you should be doing the same. Well, that was the worst advice I ever got, because
And the
for
best
one thing,
advice
I
was?
didn't heed to it. For the other, there's no expiry date on how long are you supposed to work in a certain place.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
not.
as long as it works for you
Yeah.
as well, do your best. That's probably the worst advice. And the best advice, that's even a tougher one. That's even a tougher one. I would say that well, be good and pay it forward. Don't be a dork.
Don't be a dork.
Yeah.
Be good and long-term thinking.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm trying to say with that. Actually, this piece of advice comes from my wife, who's a brilliant entrepreneur in her own right. And yeah, she used this as a basis for her conducting business, and it thrives. So it's probably the best advice you could get.
Think long-term.
Yeah, think long term and don't be a dork.
Don't be a dork. Think long-term, guys. Anyways, that concludes this amazing episode with Mr. Tomasz. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyways, please just let me know in the comment section what you think about it and who should we get on next.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks.
Finish.